Hey folks, it's CitizenWolf here, and welcome back to another edition of the CitizenWolf audio podcast. This is episode 16 you're currently listening to, and I'm on my own. I do apologise for that, there's no guests on this week, and this is the first episode I've recorded in quite a long time, in about 4.5 months as of recording this in April 2024. The last episode I did was with Severity Grey in November 2023 last year, so I can't believe it's been that long, but I will discuss a little bit more detail as to what's actually been happening with myself, what's been happening to the podcast, or should say what hasn't been happening with the podcast. That's probably more accurate. Or I haven't really been able to do the reasons why I haven't been able to do much of anything really with regarding my own personal projects. So I'll probably be using this episode to talk about that in a little bit more detail. And so the first probably 20 minutes or so might be a bit of a downer, but I think it's a bit of important context as to what's been happening and what you can expect to see from me in the coming weeks and months. Because I've decided to actually manage to get this thing back up on the road again. So which is that's a positive, isn't it? So yes, it is Severity Grey's birthday, by the way. Happy birthday, Severity Grey. Happy birthday to you. Hope you're having a good birthday today. I will be getting them on the podcast once again. At some point, mainly because that episode I recorded with them, there was severe audio problems, and I tried to fix it as best I could, but I think there was internet connection issues at the time of recording, and it was quite difficult to hear what they were saying half the time, which is rather unfortunate. So I'll probably end up I don't know whether I'll do some new questions or get the old questions and mix them with some new questions and have them on again anyway. But yes, we'll be getting to that at some point. But anyway, that's for later on down the road. But let's talk about what's been happening lately. So I thought while I'm doing the rather boring task of running backups on my PC, I've been having PC problems once again. My PC motherboard decided to kill itself. I think it might have been a problem with the GPU sagging issue. I think it might have been my fault, to be brutally honest with you. But after a certain point, it kept cutting out. I thought it was a power supply issue, so I replaced the power supply issue, and it was still the same issues. And therefore, oh shit, it's the motherboard, and then it just won't boot after a certain point. So I had to spend the most of my half-term holiday getting a new motherboard and getting that all replaced and installed and all the cables back in and reinstalling Windows and all that fun stuff. So yeah, that's it's always nerve-wracking when you're working on your own PC, but now I'm glad everything's back in now and everything's running nice and smoothly. And while I've got the opportunity with a bit of downtime, I'm letting my PC just spending several hours churning through terabytes of material. I'm backing up onto my big external hard drive, my Blender projects, my images and renders and all that other stuff and documents. And I've got, because the trouble is I'm a bit of a pack rat when it comes to data storage. I tend to keep everything. I've probably got like way too much junk, but I'm either too lazy or too pernickety to get rid of. So I'm just going to back everything up as much as I can. But that's what I'm currently doing now. And while it's doing that, I don't want to do anything too strenuous with my PC. So I thought I might as well record an episode of the podcast while I'm not doing all that much. I'm letting the PC do its thing. But anyway. But yes, so let's get into the elephant in the room, I suppose. Like, what exactly has been happened or hasn't, I should more accurately say, has been happening with the podcast. The long and short of it is, for the best part of 6 months, I think is fair to say, I haven't been, unfortunately, I haven't been very well, perhaps even longer than that, actually. I don't know, I've talked about it briefly in my previous health issues, stemming back from when I think I was talking to Tenon about it, where like back in February this was. I'll give you guys a quick recap for people who might be just joining us. I was hospitalised back in February 2023 with chest pains, and at the time that was at my previous place of employment, and things were going wrong at work, and things were getting very stressful for various reasons, which I won't go into too much detail. But I ended up being rushed to hospital because of that, and I was in chest pains. And ever since then, I was having all sorts of issues. I had to keep going back to the doctors for several different occasions. At one point, it was vitamin D deficiency. Another point, it was stress-related issues. Another reason, it was for massive headaches. Another reason, it was like I was having problems with my right eye again, and I was having issues with my leg. It literally everything. Everything like. It didn't. Everything, all the problems I was having seemed to have no rhyme or reason for anything. But like, so for 3 or 4 months, I was having like all sorts of like seemingly unlinked issues. It was very, very strange. So like, vitamin D deficiency was main thing. So I was on a round of tablets for that. So I was taking them for the best part of 3 or 4 months, and I was having really bad issues with acid reflux as well. That came back after like several years. I thought like I'd got rid of that, but like it came back again. But the 6 months thing, it was, I think, after halfway through the last year, 2023. I started having the biggest issue I started having was with my speech. Literally, after a while, it was bizarre. It was after a certain point where like I had. It was at the time halfway through the year where like at my right, I woke up with a start one morning basically, and I thought like, oh god, there's something happening with my eye. I literally thought my eye was going to explode. It felt like it was like an immense amount of pressure was building up inside it. I don't know what the hell that was, so I went to the opticians to see what I thought there was a problem with my eye, but they couldn't find anything or anything like that. So that it was really, really bizarre. And it was after several visits to the doctor and things like that. It was, I think, the main culmination of all the issues I was having was very severe stress and anxiety, and the doctors were talking about the possibility of giving me a medication to mitigate that and things like that. But at the time, I was already taking. I was still taking my vitamin D medication and. Medication for severe acid reflux and stuff, so I really wasn't too keen on maybe taking more medicine on top of what I was already taking, just in case I had more complications. But yeah, it was very bizarre. So, but the speech thing, it happened like in the last 5 or 6 months or so. It got to the point where I didn't know stress and anxiety could do that. Like I had low-level stress and anxiety for several months, like below the surface, and it was bubbling on. I was having palpitations and things like that, and I couldn't fathom what was wrong. And the how it affected my speech was very, very disconcerting. It got to the point where it was intermittent. Like sometimes I would have conversations with people at the office, and my words were all getting all garbled up, and I was saying the wrong words, or maybe I'll give an example. If I tried to say, my brain was thinking, oh, like I saw a dog the other day, and it'll come out like, or I saw a log the other day, and things, silly things like that. But other people. Maybe I thought it was a little bit funny, maybe, but to me it was like sort of my brain said dog. Why did you say log and things? And it was not just simple things like that. I was slurring my words as well in places, and it got to a point where like maybe after a certain point I literally couldn't. I found it at least very difficult to string together full proper sentences. I thought that something had seriously gone wrong. Maybe when I woke up with a start and like my something. I was having massive pains in my eye socket. I thought, oh god, is this some sort of neurological thing that's happened to me as a result of stemming from all these problems back in February? It was an absolute nightmare. So it was literally a point where I did the episode with Severity Grey, and like after that point, I just about managed to keep it together for the episode, I seem to remember. But for several months after that, my speech was like I couldn't record a podcast like I am now. My speech had diminished quite badly. So I was just talking gibberish basically, and I thought something I was thinking all sorts of problems. I'm a really anxious person, as you can probably tell. But trying to recall this is stressful in itself. But that was the main reason. My speech had diminished to the point where recording a podcast of any kind was literally impossible. It would have been a case of I could probably say 4 or 5 words in bursts, and that's it. And then the other person would have to take it from there and talk on my behalf, basically. So I had no choice but to shelve the podcast basically for several months, and hoping in vain maybe things improved and things like that. And thankfully they have, mostly. At the end of, I don't know whether I talked about it, at the end of last year, I took the decision I don't want to work at this place anymore, at my old place of employment. I was getting too stressed and anxious, and I was, because of things, what was happening, and which I won't go into, but a lot of things happened which really sent me into a bit of a anxiety spiral, let's just say, and I just couldn't cope with it anymore. It was a job I was really good at as well, but I had to take the decision, a good decision in the end, to leave that company. So I left just before Christmas. I left that place, and never I haven't spoke to anybody from there since. Basically, I've sort of blocked everybody for my own well-being, really, and start afresh and go somewhere else. I'm back at my old place of employment where I was beforehand, and I've decided to go back there, and that they offered me a place, and I'm in a lot more better position now, thankfully. So yes, and ever since I've gone back there, things have settled down back to some normality again, and thankfully my speech has recovered to the point where I can actually start recording these things again, which is amazing. I thought I was going to be fucked. I thought I was going to be I'm going to be the person where I can't remember things anymore, I can't talk properly anymore. That's how I thought. I thought that's it. That's me done. That's my project. My little my little project I've been working on for the best part of a couple of years now. People like it. I've had no choice but to shelve it. I might have been a point where I might have had to make an announcement, maybe not talking, but put it in a Twitter tweet or something, saying I'll have to cancel the podcast because I can't. I literally wouldn't have been out in the state I was in. I wouldn't have been able to record it at all. I couldn't. It physically just wasn't possible. But yeah, the speech thing that was a really disconcerting thing, and I went to the doctors about it and talking about it, and based on the symptoms I was talking to him about it and what I was taking, and he basically said, do you suffer with severe stress and anxiety, and what's happened the last 6 months and what have you? And I talked about the issues I was having, and he said the doctor said there's no red flags or anything like that, but it was just mainly a case of trying to look after myself, and I was taking steps to alleviate the stress issues, because I already left the place of stress, my old place of employment, and I've gone somewhere else, and things are settling down and things like that, and I don't have the awful foreboding sense that something's going to go wrong, because I'm not in the place there where things can go wrong anymore, so it's not my problem anymore. But yeah, so that's the basic gist of it. Was for the best part of 5 or 6 months I was just not very well at all, but thankfully things have turned around and things are starting to look up again, which is fantastic. I didn't think that was ever going to happen ever again. I thought that was me done for, basically, in many ways. But yeah, so it was awful. I don't wish stress and anxiety on anybody, really, and loss of not being able to sleep for months and months as well. That was rough as well. Waking up constantly, not sleeping properly, and oh god, no, it was a really, really horrible time the last couple of months. So yes, so that's basically why I couldn't. My speech was the critical factor in it. Without not being able to talk properly, is a crucial thing. I definitely wasn't going to use them stupid fucking, what do you call them, a lot of YouTubers like to use them, these stupid text-to-speech things. They can talk just fine, they don't need them, but they like to use these AI algorithmically, is that how you pronounce it? Close enough. Algorithmically generated voices, or whatever, for these stupid YouTube sorts. They do my editing, but anyway, I'm rambling on once again, but I'm actually able to ramble again, which is I'm over the moon about, and so yeah, I can actually restart the project, restart this podcast, and actually get things going again, which is absolutely fantastic. So yes, So that was the main crux of it, really. But yeah, so apart from that, now that things have actually starting to get back to normality again, what actually have I been working on? So yeah, so I've rebuilt my computer, as I've already explained. I've already got that rebuilt once again. That was a bit stressful. Currently doing all the backups, and I've updated some of my Blender files. I'm getting all those. It's just boring maintenance at the moment, really. Getting that all backed up, and I did do an art piece about a month ago, a brand new art piece in Blender. The first one I've done in absolutely a long time, and I was pleased I actually managed to get the thing finished in a decent amount of time. The Silent Hill 2 inspired little piece I did about a month ago. I turned out really well. I thought I'd challenge myself. It was my first outdoor scene I've ever done with Blender, and I wanted to challenge myself in many ways because I felt like maybe after several months of absence I'd try and actually make something with Blender and actually push the boat out a little bit. So I thought I'd do an outdoor scene. Because I haven't done one of those before. All of my stuff's been indoors up until that point. So I wanted to, because mainly I'm not very good at lighting, so I wanted to like really push myself and actually try and make a moody outdoor scene. And it's turned out a lot better than I expected, really. And people seem to like it and really appreciate it. So I really do thank everybody who took the time out to actually take a look at it and gave me support and that. So thank you very much for that indeed. I will be making some more artwork. I am working on other bits and pieces as well. I'm actually getting back into Blender for the first time in quite a long time, which is absolutely amazing. Again, because of the health issues, issues with tiredness as well. Working on Blender when I come back from work was like almost next to impossible. I just didn't have the energy at all to do much of anything really. It was just a case of like wake up, go to work, come back, sleep, rinse and repeat for months and months and months, and just like lingering anxiety, low key all the time, and it's not good for anybody. But yeah, so that was the first one I've done in quite a long time. And I am also working on a few other bits and pieces in the back, personal models in the background. I'm working on a new cuff and collar set for next gen. Still haven't decided whether I will release those for the public as of yet. I still haven't decided yet, because as I say, the old collar set didn't do very well, which is not one of those things really. I released it to the public. I don't think many people took to it really, but it's just one of those things. I spent a long time on it, and it was kind of bummed that not many people decided to actually check it out. But it's just one of those things really. It's just you got no really. I guess it's just more of a niche thing, really. But I was proud of the work I put into it, and yeah. But ever since I actually started, ever since I come back in the last month or so, properly, actually talking on social media and actually tweeting a few sneak peeks of what I've been working on, people seem to have quite taken to some of the models I've been working on, which quite a shock to me, really. But the collar and cuff asset, is definitely a lot better than the previous collar, which shows that I've improved to myself, that I've been improving, and people are showing an interest to actually, can we actually download this, which is amazing. So I will be looking at maybe getting some SFM conversions sorted out. I am in talks with a few people working on converting a few test models of the older collar asset to SFM, because I never really got round to doing that, because I don't really know how to do that myself, unfortunately. It's always an area that I've always wanted to get into, because I started off with Blender. I instead of SFM, a lot of MLP artists, similar to me anyway, most of the people in that space started off with SFM. That was when SFM was still fairly new, and MLP, Friendship is Magic, was still on TV screens and stuff. But I came into the space quite late in 2020. And SFM by that point was still showing its age, and quite a lot of people have moved on to other things. And but yeah, I never really, for various reasons, I never caught on how to use SFM. I didn't know who to ask. I didn't know who to get help from. I just didn't understand the interface and all sorts of issues. And I ended up instead, just as the COVID pandemic was starting to take hold back then in 2020. It seems like a distant memory now, but it was only 4 years ago. It was very recently, a very strange time. But that's when I learnt Blender for the first time with the help of Hunter. He showed me a bunch of basics after I'd learnt a few tutorials on how to use next gen, what to do, and how to put clothes on the characters and all sorts of things. He showed me. If it wasn't for him and a bunch of other people, I wouldn't be making artwork now. I have thanked them already for that, and because he took the time out of his day to make a little tutorial video for me. That's where the spark started, and that's where I'm making my own artwork, making my own models, and making my own podcast. That's why I'm doing this right now. That's why you're listening to me right now, because because of his efforts and a bunch of other people's efforts after him. But he was the crucial spark, if you like, to get things going. Hopefully someday I might be able to get him on the show once again, but we shall see. If he's ever interested, he's more than welcome to come back on the show, just to catch up, if anything, really. But anyway, but yes, so I didn't know how to use SFM, and because I didn't learn how to use the software, I don't know how to convert from Blender the models I've been making in Blender into SFM. Now I am aware of SFM's limitations, of course. It's best practice to make the asset as small as you can possibly get it in terms of like memory usage, because SFM is a bastard, and I know it's not just because of the memory limitations, but also because like how pernickety it can be and how let's just say temperamental it can be. I learnt that the hard way when I was I don't know whether I've talked about it already, but back when I did when Anton SFM, like I can't remember whether I approached him or he approached me, but I can't remember. But anyway, when I helped him with his very first animation he did, I think he had issues with his laptop, and I said to him, hey, I've got a decent PC with a decent graphics card. Like, instead of like frying your laptop, right, can just send over your project files, and I'll render out the animation for you. I'll do that for you. I'm happy to do that. I wasn't doing anything at the time, so awesome, that'd be great. So like I downloaded Source Film Maker off Steam, got that installed, and he gave me all the add-ons he was using, all the assets and things. All that went through surprisingly well, actually. The installing bit was the easy bit, even though it took a while. Did all that, installed all the bits and pieces, and then things started going awry when it just started like doing weird things. Like I wish I took screenshots of it, but like I was basically on a Discord call with Anton. Like, he was telling me what to install and what do I do, how do I render it out. I had to share my screen with him, and like it was just a case of like, what the fuck is this program doing? It was, I think Rarity's glasses were just floating in midair for no apparent reason. Even though the asset was present and correct, it sort of like flew into space randomly. I don't know why it did that, and when I did the first test renders, all the colours are all fucked up. Like the colours are all wrong. I don't know what the hell happened. Oh, and then he said, it's because like you tried to render it by going in that menu. But what, isn't that the correct icon? But no, it's not. So when you try and render something, you have to do it in a specific menu. There's like, you have to do it in like a really weird sub menu. If you do it in the normal menu, it doesn't work. So it was just one of the many things, and like trying to find icons in that was just a nightmare. Trying to find a specific slider, like a little plus icon, which is the size of a pixel on my 4K monitor. It just I couldn't find it, so I had to go pixel hunt over the stupid little plus icon just to like access a slider, so the the lighting work. It was just an absolute nightmare. But I'll bring on Anton again, definitely, to talk about that in more detail. I don't think I ever really talked about it on the podcast before, but not with him anyway. But I helped him out. He made that animation all himself, and I basically was credited because I helped him render it out for him while he was having issues with his laptop. So so I've offered to help him out with that, and that's my little bit of that's my connection with that animation with Rarity and not Applejack, Big Mac, I should say. That rather naughty animation he did, but but yes, I helped out render out that for him, and it was we got there in the end, put it that way, and it was a bit of a got there in the end, But yeah, I wanted to help him out because he was a pal, and he was having, I didn't want him to like fry his poor little laptop by rendering out an animation because and I think he has replaced his machine. Actually, I think he was having more issues with his computer as well recently. I think he managed to get it replaced. I think, fingers crossed. But yes, I helped him out with that. But yes, so yeah, so I helped him out with that. But yes, SFM can be a bit of a pig sometimes, and mate, at this point, I'm not that concerned about learning SFM now. I've gotten to the point with Blender now where basically there's not much point in me like learning the SFM's quite antiquated now in many ways. I'm not. I've talked about that. I've said this several billions of times. In fact, I have. The amazing things that people do with that. I'm not discrediting any of the work that these talented people can still do with SFM and make this antiquated software sing. And compared to like novice, you can do an experienced artist with SFM can do a lot better art than a novice can with Blender. But of course, I've got to the point with Blender now where like I've gotten a lot more confident now. I'm still learning things, but I've got to the point where I can do a lot of what I actually want to do now, which is amazing. I didn't think I'd actually get to that point. I'm still learning. Of course, I've still got lots to learn, and I've very recently completed the CG boost car animation. I actually managed to get a car modelled and animated and completed. And I attempted that project last year and I shelved it and I did it all again and actually got to the end and I'm actually pleased with myself about that. I actually fucking finished it. So yes, I actually got it out of the way. And I can get. And that was my spur of the moment to get me back into. I've done that. I can actually get back to my own projects, and I've started getting back into the swing of things, which is actually pretty amazing. I'm absolutely stoked to get back into making things again and like feeling like myself again and making my own artwork that I want to make instead of like trying to cater for it to everybody else. That's another thing. Looking back at some of my old, I guess my older projects, I'm quite proud of like how I've progressed and stuff. But looking back at my previous artworks, like I see a lot of flaws. Like, I wish I'd done that better and things like that, and like why did I do that, and like, oh, this looks a bit rubbish and things like that. I've got to the point where like now I've got a bit more tools in my toolbox, I guess. I can approach things more efficiently and more accurately and better, and which is really cool. I'm by no means perfect, but like I've gotten to a point where like I can actually do some half decent stuff with Blender now, which is really cool. Again, there's so much stuff you can do with it, and like people are a lot more talented than me, can do a lot more with it than I can. But I've got to the point where I can actually feel like I've gotten to a point where I actually understand a lot of the stuff that I didn't about a year and a half ago or a year ago, something like that even, which is really, really cool. But yes, it's more of a case of like I've gotten to the point where like things are looking up again, which is really, really, I'm really stoked to get back into this little project and people still enjoy listening to it, and I'm really stoked that people still want to listen to what I have to say and what my fellow artists have to say and get experiences from them. And that's the whole point of this thing. It's ballooned into like a little labour of love where it's gotten that the podcast itself is a purpose, and like my art now has a purpose. It's keeping me occupied and people like my stuff, and because I'm no longer, I guess, trying to cater to everybody else's taste and making my own things, my own art. It might not be as popular, but for me as a person, the artwork is a lot better. The stuff I'm making now is a lot better than what I was doing, like say 6 to 12 months ago. And I know it's not to everyone's tastes, because I make a lot of fetishy stuff and things like that. But now I've actually made something that's like out of my wheelhouse, and I've proved to myself I can actually do stuff like that doesn't have to be fetishy. I do like the fetishy stuff, of course, I still do, and I will be making more of that very shortly, as the hint with the model, the cuffs and collar model I've been working on. But it's gotten to the point where like I I can make. I'm happy to make what I want now, and people don't have to like it. They can like it or they don't have to like it. But now I'm more confident as a whole around that space. It's just I'm reaping dividends in other ways, really, and which is really, really cool. And because people starting to like my stuff a bit more and appreciate my stuff and sticking around. I'm meeting more and more people, and like people are approaching me to shut up, J Dash. Stop messaging me on Discord. I forgot to put the thing on mute. I will get you on the podcast, J Dash. I will get you on. I have said that billions of times. I will get you on the show eventually. But yes. But anyway, I'm just stoked to have I'm physically able to return to my personal projects of the podcast and things like that. So yeah, and I'm making more artwork. I'm making models. Will be resuming this project. I will be talking to the people once again who were previously interested in coming on the podcast. I will be asking them again if they want to come back on now. Now I've actually restarted it, and we'll see what happens. But I'm pretty sure I think I've got a few people who wants to come back on the show as well. So that's going to be awesome. But once again, thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you for checking out my artwork, and thank you for all your support, guys. It's been a short one today, but I thought as a little nice little update, I put something together for you guys. So as a little thank you for you guys. So thank you for listening to me. Thank you for checking out my artwork. And as always, you can check out the podcast on all sorts of different platforms. I still haven't decided yet. I am toying with the idea of maybe releasing the podcast on YouTube. I don't know yet. We shall see. But depending on the subject matter, it might not be a good idea. I'm still toying with that idea, but in the meantime, you can still listen to this podcast on directly on the Red Circle podcast website, or you can listen to it on Spotify. That's probably the easiest way to listen to it. Or you can listen to it via iTunes, subscribe via iTunes, Apple Music, as it's probably known these days, and Amazon Music, and wherever you get your podcast. It's syndicated in a lot of places. So thank you so much for showing me your support. Thank you for listening to me. Take care, everybody. See you next time.